For 12 years, Sarah introduced herself the same way. I'm Jacob's mom. I'm Daniel's wife. I'm the PTA volunteer. And somewhere between the third pregnancy and the 1,000th load of laundry, she stopped remembering there was more to that sentence. There used to be. Once she was Sarah Mitchell, the girl who painted at 2 a.m. because inspiration didn't care about sleep. The woman who backpacked through Portugal alone at 25. The friend who showed up with wine and terrible advice and somehow made everything better. But that Sarah disappeared so gradually no one noticed, not even her. It started innocently enough. When Jacob was born, Sarah made a choice millions of women make without thinking twice. She chose them. Her career could wait, her hobbies could pause, her dreams could be flexible. It's just for a few years, she told herself. Those few years became 12. At first, motherhood felt like purpose. She was needed, deeply, desperately needed. Every cry was hers to soothe, every fever was hers to monitor, every milestone was hers to celebrate, document, and organize into perfectly labeled photo albums. Daniel worked long hours. Someone had to hold everything together, and Sarah was good at holding things together. She scheduled dentist appointments. She remembered teacher conferences. She knew which kid needed extra help with math and which one needed space after school. She managed the house like a small corporation, meal planning on Sundays, grocery lists color-coded by store aisle, permission slips signed 3 days early. Everyone marveled at how she did it all. "You're amazing," they said. "I don't know how you manage," they said. What they didn't say, what no one said, was, "Who are you when no one needs you?" Sarah's identity became a list of tasks. She was the woman who packed lunches with handwritten notes, volunteered for every field trip, hosted play dates and birthday parties, knew every parent's name at drop-off. She was efficient, reliable, invisible. At dinner parties, conversations followed a script. "What do you do?" someone would ask. "I'm a stay-at-home mom," Sarah would say. And the conversation would shift, away from her, towards someone with a job title, someone with stories from work, someone who existed outside the walls of their home. Sarah learned to smile through it. She learned to find her worth in everyone else's accomplishments. When Jacob won the science fair, she felt proud. When her daughter Emma made the soccer team, she felt fulfilled. When Daniel got promoted, she felt successful. But at night, lying in bed, she felt nothing, just tired, bone-deep, soul-crushing tired, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. One Tuesday afternoon, Sarah sat in her car after school pickup. Emma and Jacob were arguing in the back seat about something trivial. The sound faded into white noise, and Sarah realized something terrifying. I don't remember the last time someone asked me what I wanted. Not what the kids needed for dinner, not what Daniel preferred for vacation, not what would be most convenient for everyone else. What she wanted. She tried to remember. The last time she'd gone somewhere alone, not errands, but somewhere. The last time she'd done something just because it made her happy. The last time someone had looked at her and seen Sarah, not someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's volunteer. She couldn't. That night, she tried to talk to Daniel about it. "I feel like I'm disappearing," she said carefully. He looked up from his laptop. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I don't know who I am anymore, outside of being a mom." Silence. Then, "Sarah, you're an incredible mother. The kids are thriving because of you." "I know, but—" "And I couldn't do what I do without your support." "I appreciate that, but maybe you're just tired. You should take a nap." Sarah stopped talking. Because how do you explain to someone that you're drowning in plain sight? How do you tell someone you love that you're disappearing into their needs? You don't. You swallow the words, you smile, you take that nap, and you wake up feeling exactly the same. The breaking point came on a Wednesday. Not during a crisis, not during a fight, during a normal, unremarkable Wednesday. Sarah was folding laundry, Daniel's shirts, Emma's soccer uniforms, Jacob's hoodies, when she realized, what was the point? No one saw her. She wore the same rotation of yoga pants and oversized sweaters, comfortable, practical, invisible. Sarah walked to the mirror in her bedroom, and for the first time in years, she really looked at herself. She saw a woman who wore her hair in the same ponytail every day because it was easy, never wore makeup because who would notice, dressed like she'd given up, looked tired, not just physically tired, existentially tired. She looked like someone who'd forgotten she was allowed to take up space. And something inside her cracked, not loudly, quietly, like ice breaking under weight. Sarah didn't leave her family. She didn't have a dramatic breakdown. She didn't make grand declarations. She did something much quieter. She started saying no. Small no's at first. "Can you chaperone the field trip?" "No, I can't this time." "Can you host book club?" "Not this month." "Can you pick up my dry cleaning?" "You'll need to do that yourself." People were confused. Daniel was concerned. "Are you okay?" he kept asking. "I'm fine," Sarah said. And she was. For the first time in years, she was making space, not for anyone else, for herself. She started small. She went to a coffee shop alone, not to work, not to meet anyone, just to sit. She bought a sketchbook, the first one in a decade. She didn't draw anything profound, just shapes, colors, whatever came out. She went for walks without her phone. She said no to obligations that drained her. And slowly, so slowly she almost didn't notice, something began to shift. 3 months later, Sarah stood in front of that same mirror. But she looked different. Not because she'd lost weight or changed her hair, because she recognized herself. She'd started painting again. Nothing fancy, just watercolors at the kitchen table after everyone went to bed. She'd reconnected with an old friend, the kind of friend who remembered who Sarah used to be. She'd enrolled in an online course, just one, just to learn something that had nothing to do with anyone else. The house was slightly messier. Dinner wasn't always homemade. Sometimes the laundry sat unfolded for days, and the world didn't end. Her kids adjusted. They learned to make their own snacks. They learned Mom wasn't always available on demand. Daniel noticed the shift. "You seem different," he said one evening. "I am," Sarah replied. "Is everything okay?" Sarah paused. "I'm remembering who I am," she said. "And that has nothing to do with whether everything is okay. It has to do with whether I'm okay." Daniel didn't fully understand, not yet, but he was trying. And for Sarah, that was enough. Sarah learned something important. You can love your family fiercely and still need to exist outside of them. Those two things aren't opposites. They're both true. She learned that selfish is what people call women who dare to have boundaries. She learned that her children would be fine, better than fine, if they saw their mother as a whole person, not just a service provider. She learned that the guilt never fully goes away, but she learned to sit with it, to acknowledge it, to keep moving anyway. Because guilt is just fear wearing a disguise. Fear that if you stop sacrificing, you'll stop being loved. But here's what Sarah discovered. The people who love you for your service were never loving you at all. The people who love you, truly love you, want you to take up space. They adjust, they grow, they learn. And the ones who don't, they were never yours to keep. One morning, Sarah woke up before everyone else. She made coffee, she sat on the back porch, and in the quiet, she heard it. Her own voice. Not the voice that managed schedules, not the voice that soothed crying children, not the voice that said yes to everything. Her voice, the one that had been waiting, patient, persistent. And she realized she hadn't been disappearing at all. She'd been buried under expectations, under obligations, under everyone else's needs. But buried things can be unearthed, not easily, not quickly, but steadily, with intention, with courage, with the quiet rebellion of a woman who decides, I matter too. Sarah still introduces herself at school pickup, but now she says, I'm Sarah. Not Jacob's mom, not Daniel's wife, just Sarah. And if they need more context, they can ask. Because Sarah learned the most important lesson. You teach people how to see you. If you disappear into their needs, they'll let you. If you shrink to make space for everyone else, they'll take it. But if you stand in your wholeness, messy, imperfect, still figuring it out, they'll adjust. Or they won't. And either way, you'll be okay. Because the woman who forgot her name, she remembered. Not the girl she used to be, but the woman she's becoming. And that woman, she's worth knowing. There are millions of women like Sarah. Women who gave everything and forgot to keep something for themselves. Women who loved so hard they disappeared into it. Women who are just now remembering you are allowed to exist, not just as a mother, not just as a wife, not just as a helper, a giver, a keeper of everyone else's peace, as yourself, fully, unapologetically, imperfectly. If you've forgotten your name, this is your permission to remember it. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need a crisis to justify it. You just need to decide, I matter too. And then, brick by brick, moment by moment, build a life that reflects that truth. The woman you used to be is still there. The woman you're becoming is waiting, and both of them are worth fighting for.